Hi everyone and happy Wednesday! As per usual, I've been spending a lot of time outdoors these last few days and I have been exploring nature with my phone camera and I've been really excited to see all the different types of mushrooms that are out there. I have a great appreciation for fungi. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to watch the Netflix documentary, Fantastic Fungi. I think that's what it's called. It's really amazing what they do for us. And so it's fun to go out in nature at this time of the year because they are out. And there are so many different kinds. I didn't take pictures of all of them, but it's really quite impressive to see how many different types of mushrooms there can be out there. So my painting this week is inspired by fungi. I'm not necessarily going to paint a mushroom that I actually really did see. I'm letting my imagination kind of bring me to where I would like the mushroom to look, but I mean, you never know. There might be a mushroom like that somewhere in the world. And if there is, I'd really love to see it. But anyway, it's going to be a very simple little painting process, one I hope you will want to join me in doing. And if you don't feel like painting, once again, don't hesitate to grab yourself a cup of warm something or cold something if you prefer, and join me for a little bit of relaxing. That's always good for the soul too. Let's get going. The next image I'm going to show you is not a mushroom, but there's a really cool looking little guy hanging out in my tomato plant. And there he is. He was munching on my tomato leaves and I had to get him out of there, but man, was he ever pretty. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you will know that the very first layer of color is usually the very simplest. And I like to keep it that way because I want to make it easy for me to get the process flowing. And if I try to complicate things too much, sometimes that's a deterrent for me. So I'm basically creating a very light wash of my favorite background color, which is a mix of intense blue or phthalo blue mixed with an earthy light red. And when you add the right amount of water and just a tinge of color, it turns into this beautiful bluish gray that I love to use for a lot of my backgrounds. And that is what I'm in the process of mixing now. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to add it all over my paper. You'll notice that the bottom portion of my painting has changed. I added some brown and some hooker's green to my green gold, and unfortunately I forgot to hit record when I was doing this, so it did not record. But I just basically wet that area. I came in with a little bit of brown and some hooker's green, and I created a few little not stripes because they're not stripes, but little squigglies of color to sort of mimic the fact that there's earth and soil underneath the moss. And is it looking exactly like moss? Probably not, but it's all good. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of the colors that I used to create this and what I was sort of going for. After adding the colors, of course, I also added some salt, and now I'm in the process of intensifying the purple on the mushroom. And I'm doing this by wetting the edges first and then coming over most of the mushroom's crown with some water, and then I'm dabbing color on the sides because I want to give the impression of the roundness of the mushroom's crown. And I also want there to be a little bit of a difference in the coloration so that it has a little bit more dimension, I guess is the best way to say it. I haven't yet done very much with the background top portion of the painting, and I've decided that I'm going to add some quinacridone deep gold in this area. And this is simply to sort of give the impression that there is something in the background, but it's not very clear what it is. When I'm walking through the forest and I'm looking at the mushrooms, of course, they're all on the ground. And so if you're in a forest, the mushrooms are on the ground, you don't very clearly see the sky around the mushrooms. And so I'm not doing anything complicated. I just want to add a little bit of color that I know will play really well against that purple and also look really nice against the green gold and the other colors in the painting. And I'm keeping it very, very simple because the simpler, the better. The more simple I keep things, the easier it is for me to feel relaxed when I'm painting, and that's the whole point of why I do what I do, is to create more moments of Zen in my life. Because we all know there are lots of reasons to feel stressed. It is all around us, it is everywhere, it seems, and so if we don't make the time to create these Zen moments for ourselves, then we may never be presented with them. So I do this as a way for me to create these moments of Zen for myself, and I hope that it also creates some Zen moments for you as well. My head is in a bit of a fog this week. I'm recovering from COVID 19, and I'm not flowing as easily with my process as I normally would. Forgot to charge my pen, so it died. Now I've decided that I might as well do something else while that is charging. And unfortunately, when I came back to using my dotting pen, I forgot to hit record. So as I've mentioned before, these moments when they happen, and they happen to most of us, if not all of us, the best thing to do is to offer ourselves compassion and to move on because you cannot undo what has not been done or do what has not been done. I don't know how you say it, but whatever. So as you can see, I did all of my dotting. It seems to have magically appeared on my piece of paper, but it did not just magically appear. I did take the time to do it. Thankfully, I did realize that I had not pressed record for the rest of the painting, and so you'll get to see what I do next. I'm basically at this point using my dotting pen on its lowest setting, and so that it creates very slow dots, and that usually tends to create a lighter dots for me. And so I want to sort of outline the mushroom using these little dots, and yeah, I want to create very light dots. I don't want the dotting to be as heavy as it is on the bottom portion of the painting, where it's really trying to create some more dark value contrast. Here I'm just trying to delineate my little fungi. um that's a pun. I'm guilty. Yeah, I want to gently outline my little mushroom, and then I will move on to doing something else. the whole point of this process for me was to create a little whimsical painting of a mushroom in the forest, and at this point, I kind of feel like it's a little bit bland. Maybe that's just because of how I'm currently feeling, but I feel like it needs a little bit more something something, and usually that something would be gold, but I'll start off first with adding some splatters of Hooker's green because I think adding a little bit more dark value contrast in the form of splatters in the background of the painting I think will help. And then I'll move on to adding some gold because it's a very rare painting where I add gold that I don't actually feel better about it. So hopefully that'll be the case this time as well. For me, gold definitely has a way of bringing out the whimsy in a painting, and I think that is just what I needed. Just even adding these little tiny flecks of gold is really starting to make this shift for me. And I think when I added some more gold to the top part of the painting as well, it'll just bring it all together. For me, the gold has definitely helped, but I feel like my little mushroom cap is still lacking in color depth. And so I'm going to carefully come in with my number 2 round brush and a little bit more purple, much less diluted this time. And I'm going to try to darken the contour of the mushroom cap slightly, just so it brings a little bit more depth and dimension to that area of the painting and also makes the color more vibrant because the top part of the painting seems to be lacking some value contrast, and I think adding this darker purple will help with that. That last little addition of purple, along with a few little splatters that I'll also add, I think was exactly what was needed. So now I'm ready to call this painting finished and take you in for a closer look. I really love how that gold looks, especially on my little mushroom cap. It looks really nice against the green gold as well, but it's a little bit more subtle there. And then on that purple, it really pops, and I love it. Up until today, I had never painted a mushroom before. Well, maybe when I was a kid, but I don't remember it. So I'll say that this was my first time, and I really enjoyed it because I do love mushrooms and I love and appreciate them for everything they do for us in nature. So I thought I was done, and then I decided I wasn't, and I added just a little bit more whimsy to the painting by adding some foliage and a little bit of swirly, viney looking plants. Not really sure what to call them. They don't probably exist in reality, but I think they make my painting a little bit more whimsical and magical. Thank you again for making the time to join me on my creative journey. I hope you have a wonderful week and happy creating!